Hey there guys, this is Phone Tech Kid, and today I'm going to be reviewing two mid-tier devices for their respective operating systems. Guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the iPhone 5C versus the Motorola X. Okay guys, so let's get started with this battle. I'm going to try to keep it simple for you guys so everyone can understand what I'm talking about in this video. So we're going to start off with build quality. The iPhone 5C is basically the iPhone 5 in a plastic shell. The reason they made this a plastic shell is they did want to have a cheaper model. It's not too much cheaper than the iPhone 5S. It comes in about $100 cheaper. Of course, one big thing about the iPhone 5C and why it might be appealing to some people is that you get color choices. So, yeah, that's kind of funny how iPhones and Apple just figured out that they should have more color options. The iPhone 5C now comes in white, black, not black, white, blue, green, red, and yellow. So you are getting a lot more color options, and you might like some of them. If we look around the device, it's definitely different than the iPhone 5S. As you can see, the volume rockers and the power button are all kind of covered in this plastic shell now too. They're really touch responsive and easy to press, and they did get a little bit bigger, so that kind of is a bonus for a lot of people. If we look at the top, we have our power button, which is also really touch responsive. Here we have our SIM card slot, and at the bottom we have our lightning charging port, our 3.5mm headphone jack, our microphone, and our speakers, which I'll get into a little bit later. Right here for the Moto X is a completely different story. Here we have this really nice matte soft touch feeling on the device, which I actually preferred over the iPhone 5C. They're about the same size when holding them in the hand. The Moto X might be a little bit bigger, but then again, the Moto X has a much bigger screen than the iPhone 5C, and it's amazing how they were able to keep it at this small size. And the main reason of that is how small the bezels are. If you look at the sides, the screen is almost going over the bezels. So this is probably the second smallest bezels compared to the LG G2, and definitely gives you a much better experience when using the phone. At the back, a subtle little thing that they included, but actually is really useful, is a little dimple on the back. If you put your finger there and you're using the device, it basically tells you where to put your finger to have one-hand operation, which I found pretty cool that they included. And now when I use a different phone, I'm always looking for a dimple to put my finger. So, as I said, this is a matte soft touch finish, and it's going to feel really good in the hand. At the top, we have our 3.5mm headphone jack. On the left side of the device, we have our SIM card slot. At the bottom, we have our USB charging port. And on the right side, we have our power button and volume rocker, which also are really easy to touch and perform really well when you hit them. So guys, now let's move on to display. So the iPhone 5C has a 4-inch display, which we're kind of used to on an iPhone, and it comes in at 640 by 1136 ppi, so that's pixels per inch. It has 326 pixels per inch, so you're definitely getting really crisp colors, and you shouldn't see any pixelation on this device. Since it's such a small screen, that pixel rate tends to be fine here. On the iPhone 5C, on the other hand, we get a 4.7-inch screen, so you are getting a lot more screen real estate. And this is a 720 by 1280p slate, and it comes in at 316 pixels per inch. So this does have a little bit more pixels per inch, but of course this is a bigger screen. So definitely the Moto X wins in the screen category, as even though it is able to keep the same size as the 5C, you are getting a lot more screen real estate on this device. Next, I wanted to talk about the battery on both devices. So The iPhone 5C has pretty much the same battery as the iPhone 5, but it did move up 100 milliamps, so it's now 1540 milliamps. And on the Moto X, we get a 2200 milliamp battery. So of course, for the Moto X, that might not sound a lot to some people, but it actually did perform really, really well. I easily get through a full day using this device, and I am a heavy user, so I keep both of my phones on full brightness all the time, and I have my phone out a lot during the day, and I'm always checking Facebook or depending what it is that I'm looking at. So both of these phones performed really good in this category. If we look at the things that Apple and Motorola said about these phones, Motorola said that you could get 13 hours of talk time on this device, and on the iPhone 5C you can get 8 hours of talk time on this device. So if we go to standby time, the iPhone 5C could go for about 9.4 days, 225 hours, and the Moto X could last 10 days, 240 hours. I really doubt you're going to have your phone sitting there for 10 days without use, but it definitely is useful that you get that much battery. So both of them do not have replaceable batteries. As I said, the iPhone 5C is covered in a plastic shell, and iPhones have never allowed you to replace the battery anyways. And on the Motorola X, you can also not open up the battery or the back of the device. That also does mean that you are not going to get any expandable storage, so you can't put any extra SD cards in there. Whatever you get in the beginning storage-wise is what you're going to have the whole time. So when it gets to hardware and speeds of both of these devices, it comes really interesting. The Motorola X comes with a feature, or what they call the Motorola X8, which is basically a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor. So I'm sure some of you don't understand what I just said, but this is basically a dual core processor, and that's not the fastest you could get right now. The fastest are called quad core processors, which the latest one is the Snapdragon 800. So you might think that you're not getting a really fast phone, and actually both of these devices come with dual core chips, but I have to say they both perform really well when playing some games. For example, I've been playing some heavy use games like NFL Quarterback 13 and some other stuff like Battlefield Modern Combat, and they both perform really great on both devices. Definitely not going to notice any lag when playing these games, and they both perfectly perform fine in that category. So this is an interesting category for both phones, is camera. On the iPhone 5C, the camera has been taking really good pictures that I have noticed compared to some other devices. It's the same camera as the iPhone 5. Pictures are really crisp. Indoors doesn't perform that well and in dark areas, but when you're outside taking pictures, which we're usually doing when we have a camera phone, it does perform really great. On the other hand, on the Motorola X, I have noticed that it also does take okay pictures, but it's having a lot of problems. So pictures do look a little bit tinny and don't give you the right color accuracy that you should be getting in the camera, but Motorola is working on an update to fix this, and they actually just fixed this for T-Mobile, and updates should be coming soon to AT&T and some of the other carriers. Both of these phones do 1080p recording. Yes, I did just say do, ignore that. So both of them can do full HD recording, and I noticed that both of them perform really well in these categories. The Moto X can record 60 frames per second and does do slow motion capture, and on the iPhone 5C it performs at 30 FPS, which is also pretty good, but you cannot record slow motion video. So at the end, both of these devices are really good, and I wanted to save something to talk about the Motorola X. the Motorola X does have a feature called Moto X Maker Online, which basically you could go online and customize your own Motorola X however you like it. They do have an unlocked model, and for now only AT&T lets you customize it. You get a bunch of different color choices. You could choose what you want to say on the back, and they really made sure to give you full customization on this device. So guys, I know you're probably wondering why I didn't talk about software that much. I didn't want to go in depth with software, as this is running iOS 7 and this is running Android 4.2.2 Motorola style, and that's going to be your preference. I don't want to go into something that you guys, if you're watching this video, are probably used to. If you like iOS 7, then obviously you're going to want to go with something like the iPhone 5S or the 5C. And if you want to see the Moto X, you're probably going to want to go with Android. But if you're kind of stuck in between, I hope this video kind of helped you choose which device looks more appealing to you. At the end, I have to give it to the Motorola X, not Android wise. You guys might say that I am an Android fanboy, but I want to say that I am open to any operating system, and this did not win because of Android. This one because of some stuff that it gives you, like giving you the bigger screen and not making the device a huge device, and just stuff that appeals to me, like having the matte soft finish that feels really good in the hand. And of course, Android I also do like. The iPhone 5C is still a great device, and I would recommend it over the iPhone 5, as the plastic does not feel really plasticky and does feel great in the hand. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this comparison of the Moto X and the iPhone 5C. Please subscribe for more videos like this, and also please do make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.